hated boxing at that period. I hated it. I didn't want to look at boxing. I thought it was boxing that made me that way. I was thinking about it for a long time, and I thought, you know what? Maybe it's the boxing. The boxing's always been there, and I've always been ill, so it must be the boxing that's done it. And I just wanted to get well again, and I thought, what made me happy in the beginning will make me happy again. So I needed to train. I never trained in 3 years. I didn't want to train. Every time someone mentioned working out or something, I used to avoid that completely. I went for a little jog, and I thought I was going to run a mile, and I got about 200 yards and stopped because couldn't breathe, and my belly was out here and it was bouncing all over. And I persevered on a daily basis for a long period of time, and I was getting better and better by the day, until the fact that I wanted to fight again. I got the love for boxing back, the love that I had when I was a child, the love that I had when I was amateur boxing, the love I had when I was turning professional. That's the love that I have for it now. But like I said, coming back for a reason. I don't know how, why, or where, or at that time I didn't anyway, why I was brought back. But I know I was given a second opportunity in life, and this time I wouldn't waste it.
And yeah, I just find it really important to first realize the issue with bottling emotions in and trying to be someone that you're not. Because there's loads of people you see in social media and stuff, you see how so many people are trying to be something that they're not. All these Instagram models, all of these people, if you took the social media away, they wouldn't be who they were. And it's a case where even though social media is an expressive tool, it's not something to take over your whole life to the point that everything is based on that. And again, touching on illusions, it's like it's another illusion that doesn't exist. So people are worried about how much likes they have, how much followers they have, and people even judge you based on how much pictures you post and how much people assume that you're not doing nothing because you haven't posted much, or you don't have any pictures, or you don't have much likes, you don't have much followers, and people judge you based on stuff just that's so silly, because in a real life people can be busy and doing things and they don't have time to be posting. Like, life doesn't revolve around social media. And so you find that people's self-worth is based off of that. If they've had some type of something traumatic happening, like abandonment or something that's caused them to actually have that self-worth issue, or maybe their father wasn't there, or maybe they were treated badly, or their mother treated them badly, or whatever it may be, having that self-worth issue.
I think just to touch back on when you were saying about the social media one, because that was a really big one, and as you said, it's like a tool, it's an expressive tool, and everyone has access to, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, whatever's out there, everyone's on it. And I feel like it's almost replaced real communication between people. So people are going to the social media to express rather than to deal with the real factor of what it is to have communication between one to another. And then that's dangerous, because that's removing emotion, because you're literally on a computer screen. And communication isn't just verbal, you got the physical communication of body language. So that's why people always catch up in argument over the media, because I could be saying something, I could type something and it not be aggressive, and then someone, there you go, someone kind of receives it as, oh, she's being rude, or but if you could see my face, or if you could hear the tone of my voice, like that all plays a part in communication. And again, it doesn't allow people to deal with their actual emotions. So trauma, you need to express, you need to, even if it's sometimes, not saying that you're going to always get the communication right first time, it could be a thing where, you know, you take it out in rage or whatever. But I feel like unhealthy coping mechanisms have taken place. And again, you said mental health, you get sick, and I feel like even with diet now as well. But yeah, man's electric, what you say, man's electric out here.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Because it's a case that so many people are just. It's like it's like unhealthy coping mechanisms are glorified nowadays. So you have people talking about depression, and then they're like, oh, just take drugs, just drink alcohol, just smoke. And as the scripture tells us, it says, don't worry for tomorrow has its own worries for itself. So it's a case that we're so focused on the tomorrow, but we're not focused on just living the here and now. We're so worried. We have 20 different scenarios for tomorrow, but we don't know what's gonna happen. It could go well, it could go wrong. But the more we spend time on focusing on what can go wrong, we just make it 10 times worse. Did you have something to say?
No, I was just gonna say basically about even surrounding yourself with distractions to keep occupied. From the fact that you're in that sunken place. Maybe everyone's watched Get Out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a deep one. So much time can be lost when you're dealing with someone that's in a state of trauma and they're stuck and they feel like they have no way out. And like you said, the mind is such a complex thing. And there was something that came to me the other day about the mind, and it was almost like the eyes tell you what you can do, but the mind tells you what you will do.
Yeah.
So everything you see in this physical, you know, tells you, oh, I can get that car, or I can get that girl, or yeah, that's the job I want. Like you're looking in your physical environment, and your eyes is telling you, oh yeah, this is what you can do. But your mind is what actually directs your path. Your mind is what actually makes the decision what you will do. Which is so important to take time to meditate on, things, and that transforming your thinking, transforming your reality through your mind, and that becomes your reality.
Yeah.
So when I say that, I'm not saying, you know, wishful thinking like, oh, I want a big fat mansion and then it's going to manifest.
Yeah, definitely.
No, but just your thought patterns take you, like your thought patterns definitely direct your pathway. Yeah, so it's a deep one when it comes to the eyes and the minds. They're connected, but to disconnect from what you see and then internalize and look inward and have your mind illuminated is what the Get Out card is when it comes to all situations, including trauma.
Yeah. No, definitely, I agree. Because in 1 John 2 verse 16 it says, for the world offers only a craving for physical pleasure, a craving for everything we see, and pride in our achievements and possessions. These are not from the Father, but are from this world. So, in the New International Version it says, for everything in the world, the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life comes not from the Father, but from the world. And so, we see that everything is based around what you see, what you want, and having a pride that says you've made it, kind of thing. So,
And how you feel.
yeah. So it's like, oh, I've actually made it now. I've achieved. I've got the big cars. I've got the big mansions. I've got the this and the that. But if you look at a lot of these people that are well off and rich, a lot of them realize that happiness is not built from possessions. a lot of rich businessmen commit suicide and are in depression, and so you hear of so many stories like that because money doesn't equal happiness, and possessions doesn't equal happiness, and actual fulfillment is fulfilling your purpose that you've been placed on this earth for. And another get out clause is people kind of looking to, all right, I'm not going to look at possessions, but I'm going to look at ascending beyond myself in a spiritual fashion. And it's like going through different routes and ways to kind of try to get to a higher state of consciousness. Another one is detaching from emotion somehow, like whether it's through drugs or whether it's from throwing yourself out there, because there's a lot of girls that just are very promiscuous, and it's like everyone just says, oh, she's the hoe, she's this and that, but in reality no one's really questioned where that's come from. And it's yeah, no one's questioned where that's come from. Yeah, you want to say something?
So sorry.
No,
So
go
now
on.
that you've touched on it.
Yeah.
So a lot of sexual what's the word? Promiscuity.
I can't say it.
Promiscuity. There's a lot of that happening right now.
Yeah.
And it's like there's a disregard for real loyal relationships. There's no value in having relationships. It's kind of like, okay, if you're not satisfying me anymore, if I'm not happy with you, or you know, there's no kind of, okay, we need to work through this mindset. And if there is, it's still kind of like up and down. You have your up and downs in relationships or whatever, but just to, like, with the sexual trauma, I feel like it doesn't even have to become physical for it to be traumatic.
Yeah.
And there's many occurrences where you know, just even through conversation, again, that's words and that's psychological. So there can be conversations where guys are talking to you and throwing out a lot of innuendos out there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, words spark the imagination.
Yeah.
So if someone's coming at you in a sexual way without the physical, but through verbal description of any sort, it's almost like, okay, you've started the process of entering my mind. And then once you're in my mind, it could just be like a normal conversation, but then there's been an imprint on my subconscious. So certain times it could just be a normal conversation, and you can see in between the lines that there is something that is more than that. So that's like a rape of the mind, let's say.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're participating in those conversations, it's fine, like, do your thing. But if it's like one-sided, where a guy's coming at you with lots of innuendo and you're not really, like, taking part in it, then it's a slippery slope from there on, like, because then they're touching on your subconscious.
Yeah.
And I can kind of see also on the flip side of how people get into affairs. Because it does start with conversation, it does start with flirting, and then it does start with like these innuendos. And again, I have to throw it back to social media. Oh my, they're gonna hate me for this. But it takes place so easily on social media. People liking your pictures, then they're jumping in your inbox and DMs and all this stuff. And it's seen as a minor, but it's really not a minor, because, like we said from the beginning, it's all in the mind.
Yeah.
It is all in the mind. Not saying that everyone's weak to fall into anything because someone's, you know, suggested something.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's still something that has then entered your subconscious. Whether you act on it or not is another story. But I can see where affairs take place. It starts like that, and then it's
kind of like the power of suggestion, isn't it? It's like you're